for dinner? Mommy, what's for dinner?
Why?
What's for dinner?
Under my wings, I can feel the air.
I really love you.
All right, so you're gonna wanna head over to HelloFresh.com and click how it works. You'll see there pick a plan, and this is how you're gonna create the perfect situation for you and your family. You can choose meats and veggies, calorie smart, family friendly, and within that space, now you're gonna click how many servings you want or how many people in your family. Decide how many times a week you'd like a meal, and you will see a per serving price. Now that price is not what you're getting because you guys are getting $80 off with my code. So here are all the meals. Now every week the meals change and you get to pick the ones that are right for you and your family. If you need to skip a meal or change a meal, no problem. You can do that in the website. Everything is going to come pre-measured and ready to go. And honestly, you never have to think about what's for dinner again.
Hi, we're gonna make a hamburger video. Do you wanna watch us? Thank you. Look at this giant onion. Is it working? Is it really working? It's bubbling. Is that sugar?
Breadcrumbs.
It smells so good.
We have the meats.
We have the beats.
Oh man, as a busy family, HelloFresh is just such a great option. Not only are we eating delicious, fresh, healthy meals, but there's so much variety. So like as a family, we're broadening our horizons. We're trying new things. I'm trying new things in the kitchen. So it's been such a success. Dinner was fantastic. Now on to the DIY.
Hey guys, happy Friday. This is the DIY Designer. My name's Orly Shani. I'm so glad that you found me. If this is your first video, welcome. I'm all up in the comments. So if you guys end up trying to do this project today and you need any advice or any help, I am here to help you. So let me know in the comment section. And also, if you guys end up subscribing, which I really hope that you do, please do tell me so that I can send you a personal thank you because I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Now, my favorite accessory of fall, always, season after season, year after year, are the belts. I'm in love with some belts. I love the structure that it provides. I love the added detail that it can add to an otherwise really simple, plain outfit. And I just saw all of these amazing belts. There were so many styles. There were the double wrap belts. There were these big, huge, wide belts, textured belts with buckles, without buckles. If you want to use real leather and that's within your wheelhouse, absolutely go for it. But we're going to be using faux leather today. Perfect for fall, perfect for back to school. I'm stoked. Materials.
So anytime that you're making something, it's always a good idea to look for something in your closet that's similar and see how they made it. So these are faux leather belts, and I realized that they're not sewn at all. They're fused together with the seam in the back with some kind of adhesive, so a glue. So my belt, I knew I wanted it to be 3 inches wide, which meant that I needed it to be cut at 6 inches wide so that I could fold it in half. Now I had to figure out how long I wanted the belt. I wanted this one to function almost like a corset a little bit, so I cut it about 4 inches less than my measurement so I could pull it tight. Once I had that measurement, I cut off the excess, so now I ended up with a 22-inch by 6-inch wide belt. I'm gonna fold it in half just like the other one was, and I'm gonna put a little hook on the side that I can actually attach my straps to. So I just cut a long, like 1-inch strip and cut those into about 4 inches. So it's a 1 by 4-inch strip. I'm adding a little fabric glue to the back side of it, laying it down on the inside, and then folding it, giving myself like a little tab. It needs a second to dry, so just put something heavy on it so that the glue can cure and move on to the other one. Again, it's a 1-inch by about 4-inch piece. I add some glue to the back side and then to the inside and fold it over. Now we're adding a good amount of Fabri-Tac. You really want this glue to be able to fuse the whole belt together, and you're gonna fold it in half. I didn't measure it. To me, what I realized is once you fold one side in half and then fold the other, you'll be able to eyeball what's even and what's not, and you can slightly adjust as needed. So you can see now, I'm just folding it into the center so that I've got a center seam, and I'm weighing it down with a bunch of books so that the glue has time to evenly distribute. You can see there, I've got that center seam. Everything is laying nice and flat, and it's ready to go. My kids are home a lot in the summertime, so, you know. Alrighty, so on to the next belt. Now for this one, it's gonna have a buckle and I want it to match and line up perfectly. So I measured it, it was 26 inches. First thing I'm gonna do is take my faux python and just cut it evenly. Sometimes when you buy it, it's not cut straight, so I just cut it straight. I measured the belt buckle that I'm gonna use, which was 2 inches. So I cut a long 4-inch strip. Again, we're folding it in half. Now, when you figure out your length, remember that with a buckle like this, you're gonna fold it in and it's gonna be sewn in the back. So you need about 1.5 inches of overlap. So once I had my dimensions, I knew that I needed the overlap and I'm gluing it exactly the same as the other. If you don't wanna use books, you can use clothespins. You definitely don't wanna use regular straight pins because it will leave a hole in the fabric. After having done it, I actually liked the way that it looked better when I did the books because it sort of laid more flat and fused together evenly. Now for this particular one, I'm not doubling it. I'm just cutting it once evenly just to show you a different option. The belt buckle had a 2-inch gap in the center, so this is basically just a 2-inch wide single belt, but I wanted to be able to wrap it multiple times. So I actually decided to cut 2 of them. 2 of them, and I'm just gonna sew it together. Now, if you're not gonna do your belt really tight, you can use fabric glue for this. I, however, am gonna do it really tight, so I'm gonna go back in and sew that seam together. Now, with a belt like this is how you do it. You just go up over the bar in the center and back down, and then again, if you're not doing it tight, you can get away with just fabric gluing this. If you are gonna wear it tight like I am, then you are gonna want to go ahead and sew that down. I wanted to create the angled edge that we recognize with belts, so I just folded it in half, took my ruler on an angle, and cut it with an X-Acto. Now this was a belt that I found at the thrift store for 99 cents. It's actually a lot cheaper to use the hardware than go out and buy new hardware. This belt here is leftover remnants of when I needed to straighten off my fabric because they cut it unevenly. So it's just on an angle, and if you want to do this version, you need 2 of them. One should be approximately 1 inch bigger than the other so that you can create this little fold over. Cutting out the little corners will allow you to fold it over evenly, and you can see here, because it's bigger, all I do is fold it over, stitch it down, fold it over, stitch it down, and it creates a really beautiful, clean, finished edge. You can see there, you can make this the front or you can flip it over and make that the front. Whichever side, they both look beautiful. Now, here's that buckle. Again, much cheaper just getting it from a thrift store and using it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap it around and figure out how tight you want it. This is gonna need a little hole, so I'm just marking exactly where I'm gonna want that to hook. Normally you would use a leather hole punch, but I don't have that, so I'm just taking my awl and kind of opening up a little hole for it. Now I'm stitching the belt buckle in place and cutting off my excess, and you can see it hooks right into that little hole, and you could be done here if you wanted. I, though, am gonna add some studs because I thought it would be really fun. So to add the studs, all you do is use your awl to open up a little hole and then push the studs through. These particular studs are like brads, so they just bend open in the back, securing them into place, meaning you could always take them out and use them for something else. Now, the other belt had dried, so I am moving on to this one now, and I'm just gonna attach the buckle. We talked about obviously how that gets attached. And again, if it's not super tight, then you can get away with fabric glue. I like my belts really tight, so I sewed them down. Simple straight stitch, it hooks into place. And again, this one could be done if you wanted, but I wanted to add some studs. So you always want to find your center so that you work your way out. So I found my center, I punctured a little hole with my awl, and these particular studs screw on. So I push the screw through the bottom, screw on the stud on the top, and just tighten it with a little screwdriver. Now you're just gonna constantly kind of measure so that you guarantee that you're even. Just keep working your way, separating them as much as you need to. Tighten all of them across the back when you're done, and we have a beautiful studded belt that matches our hardware.